Hello, this is Lourdes Alvarez from Lourdes Alvarez Professional Accountants. Today I'm going to talk to you about COVID-19 Canada's temporary wage subsidy for employers. What is the temporary wage subsidy for employers? The temporary wage subsidy for employers is a 3-month measure that will allow eligible employers to reduce the amount of payroll deductions required to be remitted to the Canada Revenue Agency, CRA. Which employers are eligible? Non-for-profit organizations, registered charity, Canadian-controlled private corporations, CCPCs, individuals with business, partnership, where all the partners are one of the entities I just mentioned, have an existing business number and a payroll program account with CRA on March 18, 2020. Pay salary, wages, bonuses, or any kind of remuneration to employees. It's important to mention that CCPCs are only eligible for the subsidy if they are taxable capital employed in Canada for the preceding taxation year, calculated on an associated group basis, is less than 15 million. The temporary wage subsidy for employers is limited to the eligible employers only. Let's see, how much is this subsidy? The subsidy is equal to 10% of the remuneration you pay between March 18, 2020 and June 20th, 2020, up to $1,375 per employee, and to a maximum of $25,000 per employer. Associated CCPCs will not be required to share the maximum subsidy of $25,000 per employer. For example, if you have 5 employees, the maximum subsidy you can receive is $6,875. Multiply 103,075, which is the maximum amount per employee, times 5 employees, even though the per employer maximum is $25,000. The subsidy must be calculated manually. For example, again, if you have 5 employees earning monthly salaries of $4,100 for a total monthly payroll of $20,500, the subsidy would be the 10% of $20,500. or $2,050. How do you receive this subsidy? Once you calculated your subsidy, you can reduce your current remittance of federal, provincial, or territorial income tax that you send to the CRA by the amount of the subsidy. Important, you cannot reduce your remittance of Canada Pension Plan or employment insurance premiums. For example, if you calculated a subsidy of $2,050, you would reduce your current remittance of federal, provincial, or territorial income tax by $2,050. You could continue reducing future income tax remittances up to the maximum of $25,000 for all remuneration paid before June 20th, 2020. When you can start reducing remittances of federal, provincial, or territorial income tax. In the first remittance period, that includes remuneration paid between March 18, 2020 and June 20th, 2020. For example, if you are a regular remitter, you can reduce your remittance that is due to the CRA on April 15th, 2020. What happens if the subsidy exceeds the remittances? If the income taxes you deduct are not sufficient to offset the value of the subsidy in a specific period, you can reduce future remittances to benefit from the subsidy. This includes reducing remittances that may fall outside the application period for the wage subsidy after June 28, 2020. For example, if you calculated a subsidy of $2,050 on remuneration paid between March 18 and June 20th, 2020, but only deducted $1,050 of federal, provincial, or territorial income tax from your employees, you can reduce a future income tax remittance by $1,000, which is the remaining amount, even if that remittance is in respect to remunerations paid after June 20th, 2020. This is a question I received from one of my clients. They ask if the subsidy affect deductions from employees. The answer is no. You will continue deducting income tax, Canada Pension Plan contributions, and employment insurance premiums from salary, wages, bonuses, or other remuneration paid to your employees, as you currently do. The subsidy is only calculated when you remit these amounts to CRA. What happens if you don't reduce remittance during the year? If you are an eligible employer, but you choose not to reduce your payroll remittances during the year, calculate the temporary wage subsidy on remunerations paid between March 18 and June 20th, 2020, and you can then ask this subsidy be paid to you at the end of the year, or transfer to next year's remittance. Well, you will need to keep information to support your subsidy calculation, and this includes the total remuneration paid between March 18, 2020 and June 20th, 2020, the federal, provincial, or territorial income tax that was deducted from the remuneration paid, and the number of employees paid in that period. The CRI is currently updating reporting requirements, and more information will be released in the near future. This is very important to mention before I wrapping up my presentation. The subsidy is considered taxable income. Yeah, you receive the subsidy, you have to report the total amount as income in the year in which the subsidy is received. What happens if your business is closed? Well, if you didn't pay salary, wages, bonuses, or other type of remuneration to an employee between March 18 and June 20th, 2020, you cannot receive the subsidy, even if you are an eligible employer. If you have questions, concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us at www.lourdesalvarez-accountants.com. Make a phone call or write us an email. We are here to help. Thank you for listening.